Hello, I'm Cheryl McCarthy. Welcome to One to One. 2 years after New York made the sale of marijuana for recreational purposes legal, the first 2 licensed marijuana dispensaries have opened in New York City. At least 20 more are expected to open by the end of the year, part of what some predict will become a billion-dollar business. Who stands to benefit from the marijuana boom if it happens? In the fall of 2021, Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn launched a cannabis education program designed to enable blacks who suffered the most harm from the criminalization of marijuana to be entrepreneurs and participants in the cannabis industry. What exactly are students being taught, and how have academics and community residents responded to this new program? Here to tell us are Alicia Reed, professor of chemistry at Medgar Evers, and Vickiana Clement, a computer software engineer and entrepreneur and a student at the college who were on the task force that put the program together. Welcome. Alicia, both of you were, as I said, on the task force that looked into whether creating a cannabis education program at Medgar Evers was feasible. Whose idea was it in the first place, and how did you go about researching whether to proceed with it?
So the idea initially came from students at the college. And one student in particular comes to mind, Arlette. That was the first conversation. Her name is Arlette Alexis, who's also now a student of the program and an alum. So that conversation started somewhere in the middle of 2018. And Arlette came together with a group of other students at the college to really ask, what would Medgar be doing about the cannabis industry when it eventually reached to New York? So they were tracking what was happening in other states and predicting eventually New York City would open up. And they really, really wanted to be prepared for when that industry came. That was the conception of the program. And the program eventually was birthed in 2021 after about 2 to 3 years of really working hard in the trenches to put together a program that would give access to the constituents we serve to have a really meaningful participation in the industry once they gain accreditation.
So that was really the rationale for creating it. You know, we've been victimized by the criminalization of it for so long. How can we actually benefit from it now that it's going to be legal? Vickiana, was there opposition to the idea of starting this program?
I can say that there have been many stigmas, and they still remain in many areas of New York. Even my parents, they were not for cannabis here in New York City. But now, after a lot of data have been provided to many constituents in the community, on campus, even students, some students were like, oh, maybe that's not for us. After the data has been provided to see all the great effects that cannabis has, not only in developing industries, but also in health, how it's an exit drug for many who are on harder drugs. People have come on board and have supported Medgar Evers and this program. So
Alicia, one can get a minor. Tell me about the structure of the program. One can get a minor in cannabis. In cannabis education?
Yes. So we wanted this program to be accessible to all. So we structured it such that a student that's majoring in psychology, or a student that's majoring in business, or a student at Hunter College that's majoring in chemistry, and they wanted to have a minor to show that they have been doing interdisciplinary studies and really get their feet wet in the cannabis industry, could still access this program. So there are 13 courses that a student could choose from. If a student wants to do a minor, however, they need to choose 4 courses. And they could choose those 4 courses according to a track that they're interested in. There are 4 tracks. There's one in business. There's one in growing. There's a 3rd track in testing and formulation, and the 4th track is for those students who are interested in going into the health field.
And I gather that the courses, they're not taught by Medgar Evers professors, but by outsiders who have some connection to the industry?
So we wanted to make sure that students also had access to networking opportunities and actually pipelining directly into the industry. And we wanted to make sure that the curriculum remained fresh and relevant. So to do that, we partnered with a number of industry experts throughout the U.S. to put the curriculum together and actually come into the classroom and assist in teaching. That said, the program is still extremely academically rigorous. So if you have to do one of the growing courses, for example, the prerequisites are general chemistry and bio 202. So still the academic rigor is there, but we have industry experts come in who could give what happened yesterday in the
And they're not
industry.
necessarily from New York, they're from
All
give me
over.
some examples, for example.
So this semester we have Jesse Horton, who is a leading expert in the cannabis industry. He has experience in engineering as well as growing, and he is leading the growing course this semester. He's an expert grower, geneticist, and so on. And how we've structured it, even though we have a lead instructor in the classroom, that instructor also brings in from week to week different guest speakers in different aspects of the course. So we've had expert growers come in with different specialities. We have had medical experts come into the classroom as guest speakers. We've had people who wrote the MRTA. Different people from around the industry come in as guest speakers with our leading instructor. So they
Okay.
really get a really 360-degree view of the cannabis industry, depending on the course they're taking.
Okay. Now, Vickiana, you are pursuing the cannabis education minor, and you've taken how many courses? 4?
This will be my fourth course.
Okay.
No, fifth. Excuse me, fifth course. So I already have done half of the cultivation track, but I am finishing the commercialization track. And so in the commercialization track, I've been quite fortunate to understand not only the legalities of what New York City is experiencing as they are really putting out here all of this big project that I call legalization in New York City of cannabis. And the reason I say that is because one aspect is the law, of course, and then the other aspects are making sure that when the law is here, that things are executed properly, that what are we going to do when we have dispensaries that are opening up and they are not necessarily under the licensure of the OCM. So being a student in the classroom, you get to speak to these industry leaders who are also working at the same time that they are teaching. So they have insights into what's going on, and they let the students become aware of this so that the students can then also think about how to respond to some of these problems. So I say that because in the commercialization track, there's a lot of projects that we have to deliver. For example, we have students who have created their own brand projects. My project was really kind of understanding how legacy is going to transition in this market.
What do you mean legacy?
So legacy constituents are the constituents that have been here for many, many years, but we're not operating under the legality
Okay.
of what is now the recreational market here in New York. And there's a lot of them.
So how they can become legal, in other words?
How they can become compliant.
Okay.
Because they have been operating for decades in a non-compliant fashion. So what is New York going to do with that? So my project, for example, in my project, I created a non-for-profit called Legacy Core, and we're working on transitioning different legacy constituents. So I've been able to use what I learned in the classroom to solve real life problems right now that we're seeing in the industry. We have other students who are classmates of mine who have received an NSF award for ancillary products that they've created, tech products. So it's not just coming and learning about cannabis and what people think. It's really deep diving into specific areas and then understanding how to try to come up with solutions.
Okay. So you told me a lot about the commercializing cannabis course. How about there's also a course on the social impact of cannabis? What goes on in that course?
So that course we have not launched as yet, but we plan to. Yeah.
Okay.
So of the 4 tracks, we've launched 2 tracks. We are doing this in stage rule.
I see. I see. Now, there's going to be a course, or is a course, on the New York Cannabis Dispensary. Is this a course in which you learn how to, the requirements for starting your own dispensary, or?
This course takes the students by the hand and walks them through every stage of the actual application, what that looks like, and actually have the students put together a mock application themselves. And that course was led by a cannabis lawyer here in New York City who
Okay.
works with a lot of these applications.
Okay. How about the cannabis chemical pharmacology?
In the chemical pharmacology course, students would be looking at the different interactions that drugs have and what are some of the pharmacological effects. So they will be looking at the cannabinoid system, looking at the different receptors, how drugs interact with them, and what are some of the potential benefits and potential side effects of these interactions.
Vickiana, why did you decide to enter the program, and how do you rate it so far?
The cannabis industry is an industry right now that is being led by what I call 1%ers, which is Caucasian males.
Right.
And in New York City, a state that has been impacted so much by the war on drugs, I believe that Black and brown should be leading in the development of this industry and what it should look like. And so that's really the main reason why I decided, okay, this is something for us to engage in, because I want to help in the development of what that's going to look like for New York. And if we don't participate, and I say to many, you know, stigmas aside and the idea of whether you use cannabis or not, if you put that to the side, do you want to ever be part of an industry that's developing where you want people that look like yourself to really be very well represented? Then you have to be part of that development.
Right.
And so that's why I am very much engaged in the courses and really putting my best foot forward in the development of the cannabis industry in New York.
What are some of the things that you learned from either putting this program together or taking the courses that surprised you or that you didn't know before?
I realized that some of these constituents, especially the legacy constituents, they're hitting the triple bottom line. I don't know if you know what the triple bottom line
what is that?
So the triple bottom line is when you have a business that is able to check off the profit factor, the people factor, and the planet factor. And so these businesses allow you to be very sustainable over time, even though initially it takes them a bit more to get up and running because they're looking at other sectors that normal businesses don't, like the planet sector and the people sector. And what I saw after doing much research is that legacy constituents are consistently hitting those 3 sectors. And you don't even have blue chip companies that hit those 3 sectors. So that to me was something that was mind blowing.
So they have a lot of knowledge about how to make this work. How about you, Alicia? Anything that you've learned from this whole process that really surprised you?
What I've been extremely pleasantly surprised about is the type of students we have coming in. So the bulk of our students are non-traditional degree-seeking students. So about 50 to 60% are totally non-degree students. They are paying out of pocket. They are not taking a degree anywhere in CUNY. But they are coming in and they are excelling. I think the next segment should be some of these students because they would leave you with your jaw open. So we've had students who've already gotten conditional patents and they're working on several other patents. We've had students, as Vickiana said, won Best in Show at the National Science Foundation I-Corp competitions. We've had students who've done internships this past semester, and we had the company call us up and say, whatever you all are doing, keep doing, because these students are exceptional. They've had interns before in different states around the country, but those interns were master level students.
Yeah.
And our students are undergraduate level students, and they've far surpassed the expectations that they've had. So I've been really pleasantly surprised that the students are really taking what we are learning, the education, and they're taking it to a different level. They're out there, they're applying for licenses, and they're out in the street really making magic, I would say.
What kinds of specific jobs are there in the industry that are out there that your students might go into?
Oh, there's so many right now. So, as you said at the beginning, right now there are only 2 dispensaries, 2 recreational dispensaries
Right.
that are currently open, but there are 10 medical dispensaries that are already open, that have been open for quite a while here in New York.
Are those in New York City or?
They're all over New York
Okay,
City and New York
okay.
State. So there are positions for bartending, some of the entry-level positions. There are positions for people, the chemists, to do formulations, testing. There are positions for cultivation. There are positions for geneticists. And then you have the wealth of ancillary sectors. So you have people who are interested in going into the marketing aspect of the cannabis industry, artificial intelligence, how to better grow, how to better extract. You have people who are interested, and students right now in the classroom, who are interested in media, they're interested in accounting. That's a whole field by itself with a lot of challenges. So they're trying to solve some of those challenges. There are countless opportunities.
Now we know about people who are growing or trying to grow marijuana on their windowsills, in their backyards. Are there places in the city or in the state where marijuana is being grown in large quantities for either medicinal purposes or now for legal or for recreational purposes? And if so, where is this happening?
The medical dispensaries that are here, some of them, many of them have upstate New York growth facilities,
Upstate.
cultivation
Okay.
facilities that are very, very huge. In addition to that, outside of the medical program, you have all the conditional cultivators that have gotten their licenses. They're all cultivating upstate New York. At this time, I'm not aware yet here in the city if any cultivation is going on in a large capacity that is in a compliant manner.
Right. But there are
because right
licensed
now-
cultivators for medical marijuana already.
Right, but
Okay.
a lot of the cultivation right now is outdoor
Okay.
thus far.
Okay. So what's the process, in short, is the process for obtaining a cannabis dispensing license? I know there's a $2,000 application fee, correct?
The first rounds of applications were for card applicants, which were applicants that were impacted by some form of either cannabis arrest, or an immediate family member thereof. Those are called card. Now, the application process for non-card applicants has not opened yet.
Okay.
So right now, if you wanted to open the awesome Cheryl McCarthy dispensary, unfortunately, the application process isn't open yet, but hopefully New York will be opening this year. OCM is doing a great job with such a large state, trying to do their best with the rollout.
But the 2 dispensaries that have opened, they are run by nonprofits, is that correct?
So they were card applications. Now, card applications had 2 types of applications. One where if an individual was affected by some form of cannabis injustice, they could apply. But non-for-profits could partner with socially impacted individuals.
And that's what happened in
Yes.
these cases? Okay.
And so you have actually 3 dispensaries that are open. You have 2 that are non-for-profit, which is Housing Works, and then another one by the DOE fund. And then a third one that just opened recently in the last few weeks is called SMACT. It's the first card applicant that is not part of a non-for-profit application.
Okay. Now, even though recreational use of cannabis and selling of cannabis in New York State is legal, it's illegal under federal law. So how does that impact, what obstacles does that pose for what's happening in New York City?
It does. On the academic side, there are definitely obstacles. So, for example, our formulation and testing courses, we could teach theories but there must be no cannabis on campus, no cannabis touching, no cannabis research. And we have quite a number of faculty who are interested in doing some really impactful medical research and other scientific projects, but they cannot access any cannabis because CUNY, of course, is federally supported.
Okay.
So that's one of the challenges. Another challenge a number of our students are facing is financing, getting loans from banks. If you're not going to be eligible for many of the banking institutions for loans because it's still federally illegal, and there are many other challenges.
Is there, has Medgar Evers gotten any outside, maybe private funding for the program, or is it all coming from, I guess, state, city?
So right now, when we started in 2018, we received a small grant, $10,000. We wrote a grant and we received $10,000 from the then president. And after that, it's been quite a struggle. We've been volunteering our services, and recently we secured a $500,000 grant. And that grant came from a non-for-profit, Gotham Gives Foundation. They were really interested in supporting the type of efforts. They shared the same vision, and they supported one research project. And from that research project, we are doing a number of community studies. We've given quite a number of scholarships to our students. Many of them, they came to the college and they are paying out of pocket because they're not pursuing a full degree. So these scholarships have been really helpful in supporting these students and helping them to stay in the program.
I have to say that when I first heard about the program, I said, oh no, I mean, my feelings were kind of negative. But having you talk about it, I am seeing how it could be a very positive thing.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised at your skepticism because we had to overcome so many obstacles in getting this program up and running. One of the major issues where people would be like, how dare you be a predominantly Black institution and bring something that has been so negatively stigmatized to the college? That's going to tarnish our reputation. And my feeling was we have a moral responsibility to the constituents that we serve to make sure that we equip them with the tools to be able to differentiate between fact and fiction, with the tools to be able to make an educated decision whether they enter this industry or do not enter this industry. And if they choose to enter this legal industry, with the tools to equip them to not only enter the industry at the entry-level positions, but enter the industry at the executive suite positions, enter the industry as really educated and ready entrepreneurs.
And also to be able to make some money out of an industry.
An opportunity for generational wealth.
Right.
Yeah, so hence the passion for this project, because we believe offering such a program is morally right, and it's our duty to really serve the people who were most affected by the war on drugs.
Okay. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'd like to thank Alicia Reed, Professor of Chemistry at Medgar Evers, and Vickiana Clement, a computer software engineer and entrepreneur and a student at the college, for joining me. To learn about our upcoming shows, you can follow us on Twitter at 121 CUNY TV. For the City University of New York and 121, I'm Cheryl McCarthy.